opening ceremony just 35 days away as we welcome you back. Second semi-final of the women's 5,000, and here's Elise Cranny.
Elise Cranny has dominated this event in the United States the last few years. She's had some bumpy roads, had some setbacks. She recently left her training group for another training group, then left that group, but she always seems to come through. She's such a good 5,000-meter runner.
We'll see what kind of strategy she employs in this one. So from Elise Cranny to the 16-year-old Elizabeth Leachman.
This is truly remarkable, Lee, because the 5,000 is an event that you get as your body hardens and you get older. You really have to build the strength to run it. She qualified for the Olympic trials in her first outdoor 5,000-meter run. Only 16 years old, the youngest competitor here at the Olympic track and field trials.
16 years, 154 days old.
It's truly incredible.
On your mark.
And it was an interesting experience in the previous semi for Parker Valby, the collegiate standout. What's it going to be like for the 16-year-old Leachman?
I think Leachman will just want to sit in the pack and get this experience. I mean, it would be incredible for her to make it onto the final, but I think this is more of just an experience to have, to learn so much and see what elite racing is like. And we see right now, look at all of the slowing down right now. Nobody wants to lead this. And this is when you get dangerous and you get falls.
So Elise Cranny went to the front straight away, but then really put the brakes on. Natasha Rogers beside her, Katelyn Touhy, and they are sauntering. This is an extremely conservative. That look on your face, Cara, was one of shock or surprise.
Someone's going to fall, yeah. I mean, when you just slow down like that. See, a lot of people, they don't want to lead, especially in these rounds. They want to sit back and get through it without wasting any mental energy of having to think. So they all got off the line nice and well, and then they want to settle in, and they all kind of found themselves going to the front, so then they all put down the brakes. But that can make it really dangerous. Look at Katelyn Touhy here, her first race of the year, NCAA champion. And
earlier this year that Maggie competed in the Olympic marathon trials. Carol, when we were down in Orlando, Florida on a pretty warm morning for both the men's and women's marathon trials, and Maggie is here trying to make this team to Paris.
She's an excellent marathoner. She's run 2:28 in the marathon, which is a very, very good time, world-class time. And it's cool to see her drop down to the 5,000 here and run this at the Olympic track and field trials.
It didn't work out for her in Orlando. She woke up pretty sick on race morning. Ended up finishing 22nd at those trials. So we'll see what Maggie can do here. I was just having a thought about, if you look right in the middle, kind of fourth, fifth from the back, is the 16-year-old Elizabeth Leachman. What do you think's going through Elizabeth's mind right now? Do you see her there with some tape on her right hamstring?
You know, this is nothing what she imagined her Olympic trials experience was going to be like. I'm sure she thought she'd get on the back of a pack and maybe ride her way to a personal best, but instead she's being handed a very pedestrian race. But you know what? The longer it goes at this pace, the more of a chance she has to move on to the next round.
Sure. Again, top 6 in each semi-final will go through. Then there's 4 spots left on time. Natasha Rogers has done a good job just sitting on the edge, sitting shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip with the race leader, Elise Cranny. And we'll come back to the track in a moment. We need to check in on some pole vault with Paul and Trey, guys.
Yeah, you think there's a slow pace on the track. How about the qualifying in the men's pole vault? We started with 26 vaulters an hour and 5 minutes ago. We have 19 still vaulting, and including the silver medalist from Tokyo, Chris Nielsen.
Yeah, and he's looking good. They're jumping at all the bars so far, Paul, just to stay fresh instead of sitting down, letting that fatigue, like lag sit in the legs. And the progression is just inching along, only going up 5 centimeters at a time for these guys, as we watch now two-time world champion Sam Kendricks again up and over these low bars. They're making easy work of them, just waiting to knock the field down to 12.
18 feet 4 1/2 inch with 12 men over the bars. We keep working our way, trying to get down to 12 to move on to the final. Lee.
And we're working our way through this 5,000 meters. You see in the yellow top, Natasha Rogers. She's represented Team USA at the World Championships, but if she could make this team, it would be her first Olympic team. So we will see. Katelyn Touhy tucked in behind there as well. Also Rachel Smith, bib number 6. There she is, sits third at the moment.
You know, they've really let the time qualifiers go now. The first heat was pretty reasonable. I felt like the second heat was going to be able to get those time qualifiers, but with the way this has gone so slow, we're probably not going to see any time qualifiers from this heat, which is dangerous. Now we finally see Josette Andrews start to move up. She's had enough. She does not want to lead this to a kick between 15 women.
And Oregon's own Ella Donahue. Look for number 14 there. Blue bottoms, white top. There she is, putting herself in the mix. So if the time's not going to be there, you must be in those top 6 positions at the end of this second semi. They're inside the final 5 laps. And Elise Cranny now starts to tick up the pace a little.
She really does. And we see, again, Andrews there kind of in third on the outside. She hasn't run on an outdoor track, raced on an outdoor track yet this year. She had a stress reaction, her 5th metatarsal and calcaneus. And she was going to race in June because training was going well and she was healthy. But she thought, you know what, I'm still on the upward trajectory with training. So she decided to make her racing debut of the outdoor season here in the prelim.
She's made 2 global teams, but they have not been in outdoor competition. Elise Cranny has a quick look over at the big screen just to see who's close, what movement has happened behind her. She's been at the front the entire way.
And she's looked so calm. I mean, she knows what she's doing. She knows that she can kick with all of these women. That's how she's won her national title. She was so incredible over that final 400 meters. But she's had to just sit there and just didn't want to take it, didn't want to go out there and leave any extra energy out there. She is also planning on coming back in the 1500.
And look, there was a lesson learned for Elise Cranny in Budapest last year where she did the double. She did the 5,000, 10,000 double, and she said there were times where I should have just acted, maybe not even reacted. I should have gone for it, but I kind of sat for a little too long. So at your next opportunity, certainly at an Olympic trials or at a global meet, you'll certainly learn from that. So Elise Cranny being very decisive has set the pace right from the gun.
And now I think we're starting to see this wind up. They'll have 3 laps to go when they come across the finish line. And we start to see now it is starting to splinter. Elise Cranny is starting to wind this thing up. That was a 71-second lap, by far the fastest lap we've seen in this race so far.
Rachel Smith now going with her, the 32-year-old from Maine. Top 6 is the focal point. So there's a clear breakaway group here coming into the final 3 laps here at Hayward Field.
And Lee, we talk about St. Pierre being a mom. There are 2 Olympians in this field who are both moms. One is Rachel Smith and Abby Cooper. They've both made Olympic teams and both gave birth since the last Olympic cycle. And
did you see who is at the head of that second group? It's the 16-year-old Elizabeth Leachman. She's trying not to lose touch. There she is. Quick look at her watch. But that's quite the gap that she's got to make up. And this is what it looks like up the back stretch. And there are 8 women in this lead pack for 6 positions to go through to Monday's final of the women's 5K.
And now we see Touhy moving up there too. They know they have to be in those top 6 positions. It just has not been fast enough. They let it dawdle way too long. They cannot be reliant on a time qualifier. That last lap was a 69. We start to see Elise Cranny actually look more comfortable now that she's running faster.
Natasha Rogers is falling off the back of the lead group in yellow. You can see that. So now it's down to 7 women for 6 positions and 2 laps left of Hayward Field. Ella Donahue, number 14 there, center of your screen, looks strong. Katelyn Touhy is now picking it up. And Cooper is grimacing a little to stay with this lead pack.
Elise Cranny looks so relaxed right now. This is what makes her special. She actually looks better and more comfortable the faster that she runs. She is so controlled. There's no pain in her face. She's just out here getting business done.
Josette Andrews all in green there. Here comes Katelyn Touhy. Smith and Ella Donahue. And then Emily Infeld. There's your 6. It's a clear breakaway. And this doesn't matter about the order. If they stay where they are, all 6 of these women are going through. They've dropped Abby Cooper, unfortunately for Abby. But here are the 6 from the second semi. And the entire race controlled by 28-year-old Elise Cranny. 1 to go.
I mean, Elise Cranny is just so good at what she does. She doesn't panic. Look at now, she's starting to pull away. This is where we normally see her attack the race. And you can see, almost like St. Pierre in that first heat, she is just creating daylight, creating space off of just a few strides. Look at how this is broken up in the last 150 meters.
Wow, there were 7 women together a lap ago, and now it has splintered. It's Elise Cranny and everybody else. Rachel Smith and Ella Donahue are in a good position to hang on there for another 200 meters. Katelyn Touhy, Josette Andrews, Emily Infeld. There's a big enough gap back to Abby Cooper. And look at Elise Cranny. She's just told everybody else, I'll see you in the final of the women's 5,000 meters. I want a ticket to Paris. 16:02 for Elise Cranny, Ella Donahue, Rachel Smith. Wow. That was an interesting one. Very slow pace to begin, and for the majority of it, maybe the first 2/3 of it, and then it just lit up.
It really did. And it really was just a masterful race by Cranny, showing why she is the 3-time U.S. champion in this event. She just kept taking it up a notch when she needed. But in that last lap, she just opened up, and see how beautiful her stride looks right now. This is the way she wants to feel throughout the race. But she was smart to wait and do it later in the race. She found herself having to lead the entire thing. 62.8 last lap, Lee. And that's why you see that distance she put on everybody in that final 400 meters.
Look at the composure. Elise Cranny in control. As we rejoin Trey and Paul and pole vault, guys.
Yeah, Lee, we're looking at the American record holder, Casey Lightfoot. He's on.